Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something really fascinating, I think. How all of this personal data flying around, when you mix it with psychology, might actually change how we tackle, personal goals.
Yeah, things like saving money, exercising more, sleeping better,
Yeah.
stuff that generic advice, well, just doesn't seem to work for most people, does it?
Exactly. So, we're looking at research exploring how our digital footprint, social media, credit cards, even phone sensors, gives these incredibly intimate clues about our routines, our needs, our motivations.
We're trying to move past that one-size-fits-all failure. The goal today is understanding hyper-personalization, how it might actually fix things using these, like, data traces.
Right, it's like getting a shortcut to understanding behavior. Now, when you talk about big data knowing you, it usually goes one of two ways, right? There's the scary Black Mirror version,
The doom and gloom.
and then the super optimistic tech will save us all utopia. But the sources we're digging into suggest the reality is, well, it's complicated. It's somewhere in that messy middle.
Absolutely. And the core idea we're exploring is using this predictive power to build something like a friend who really gets you.
Mhm.
An advisor, maybe an algorithmic one, that understands your psychology deeply.
To give advice that's actually meaningful because it knows you, not just some average person.
Precisely. The most helpful, personalized advice possible.
And when you say intimately, some of this data is genuinely shocking. Let's just jump right in. This finding that an algorithm using only about 300 Facebook likes
Yeah.
can predict your personality traits better than your own spouse or your family. That's wild.
It is wild. It
Yeah.
really makes you stop and think about what intimacy even means now, doesn't it? I mean, you share your life with your partner,
Yeah.
but this algorithm, just looking at data traces,
Consistently beats them on predicting things like openness, conscientiousness, even neuroticism.
Yeah.
So how? What's the mechanism there? Why does a machine beat human intuition, people who know you best?
well, I think it comes down to what you reveal when you think no one's really watching, or maybe when you're not consciously curating yourself.
Like your Google searches. Things you might not even tell your partner.
Exactly. Those raw, unfiltered digital breadcrumbs. Your genuine interests, maybe searches you do when you're stressed or anxious. The algorithm doesn't judge. It just maps those traces against millions of others.
And it learns these weird associations, like, if you like this, you're probably like that.
Precisely. Like the classic example, right? The curly fries thing.
Ah, yes, the curly fries liking linked to higher intelligence,
Wait.
which is just bizarre.
Is bizarre.
But, okay, if we can predict IQ from fries, but we don't actually know why they're linked, is that useful? Or is it just like a statistical party trick?
That's a great question. It highlights the difference between prediction and full understanding.
Mhm.
Sometimes just the prediction is powerful enough, especially for an AI trying to guide behavior.
Okay.
But other times, these surprising links actually unlock some deeper psychological truth we hadn't quite grasped before.
Like the research on using I, me, myself, those first-person pronouns.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
So psychologists initially looked at that data, and the obvious guess, the theory, was narcissism, right? Egocentricity, lots of I, me, mine.
Makes logical sense.
It does. But the data completely flipped it. It showed that heavy use of I and me was actually a really strong signal of emotional distress, depression, anxiety.
Wow, how does that work?
Well, think about cognitive load. When you're feeling really down or stressed, your brain power gets consumed by sort of internal monitoring. Your inner voice is all about, how am I feeling? What do I need? Why can't I cope?
Ah, so that inward focus just naturally comes out in your language.
Unconsciously, yeah.
Yeah.
It provides this really clear trace of your internal state. That's data-driven psychology really shedding light, you know?
Okay, so that's the theory, the potential. How do we actually apply this kind of psychological x-ray? Let's talk money management. It's tough for so many people.
Definitely. Traditional advice often falls flat, but hyper-personalization, it could be a game changer here. And the research uncovered another really counterintuitive link.
No.
We looked at personality traits correlated with, low savings, high debt, defaulting on loans, and we found that people scoring high on agreeableness,
The nice people. Caring, trusting, empathetic.
those are the ones. They have a significantly harder time managing their finances.
Really? Why? My first thought goes to maybe they're not great negotiators. Or they get taken advantage of.
Well, those things can happen, and maybe they're trainable, but that wasn't the core issue according to the data. It was something deeper.
It was.
Agreeable people, when asked directly, explicitly state they just don't care as much about money itself.
Ah, okay. That taps right into that big societal myth, doesn't it? That you can either care about people or you care about money, but not both.
Yeah, exactly. And it's such a false dichotomy. It can be really destructive, actually. I mean, think about it if you're supporting kids or parents or you're the main breadwinner.
Right. Managing money well is how you care for them. Bad finances hurt the people you love.
Precisely. So this is where the big data plus targeted motivation comes in. How do you tailor advice for someone driven by caring for others, but not by the numbers in a bank account?
So you personalize the framing.
You have to. If you've got someone low in agreeableness, maybe more competitive, you might frame saving as, getting ahead or winning.
Right.
But for that highly agreeable person, you have to connect with their core values. You have to appeal to that caring instinct.
But wait, if they say they don't care about the money outcome itself, how do you frame saving as, say, protection for loved ones without it still feeling like it's just about money? Does that actually work?
That's the key nuance. You anchor it to behaviors they already show. The data, for instance, revealed agreeable people often spend more on their pets.
Interesting.
They prioritize caring for the vulnerable right there with them. So the successful framing isn't talking about abstract retirement goals decades away. It's about framing saving as the way to ensure they can continue providing that care and protection for loved ones, pets included, both now and in the future.
So the tech acts like a really empathetic advisor who knows what motivates you specifically.
Exactly. But it can do it at scale.
Which, okay, that immediately brings up the big red flag. This level of intimate knowledge. It's powerful, but the risk of abuse feels huge.
Oh, absolutely. The moment an algorithm understands your vulnerabilities, understands what makes you tick, it can be weaponized.
The algorithm doesn't have morals, it just optimizes.
Right. So that knowledge could be used to push people into, I don't know, really harmful schemes. Pump and dump stocks, MLMs, targeting those agreeable people who want to be helpful or please others. It erodes your ability to choose freely your agency.
Yeah. Now, the regulators, especially in Europe, California, they're focused on transparency and control, giving you the right to know how your data is used, the right to manage it.
Hmm.
But the sources we looked at raise a really critical point. Are we, as individuals, actually equipped to manage all that?
Honestly, probably not. I mean, the tech moves so incredibly fast. Data is collected everywhere by countless companies in ways we don't even realize.
So trying to manage permissions for every app, every website, it's basically a full-time job nobody has time for.
Exactly. Transparency and control are necessary, definitely, but they just aren't enough on their own. It's too complex.
So if individual management is unrealistic, maybe the answer has to be more systemic, which brings us to this idea of liberal paternalism and changing the defaults.
Right. Humans are creatures of inertia, aren't we? We have limited time, limited mental energy. So we tend to just stick with whatever the default setting is.
Like organ donation?
Perfect example. In countries where you have to actively opt in to be a donor, participation is really low, like 10%. But where the default is opt out, you're assumed to be a donor unless you say no participation jumps to like 97, 98%.
Wow. So the desire to donate is often there, but the friction, the effort of opting in stops people.
Exactly. It's all about reducing that friction. We see it in finance, too, with 401k retirement plans in the U.S.
The automatic enrollment.
Yeah. Making enrollment the default, so you have to actively opt out, dramatically increased how many people save for retirement. One source called it the rocket thrust analogy.
Yeah.
You need the motivation, sure, but you absolutely have to minimize the friction to get off the ground.
So applying that to data, the proposal's pretty radical. Make data protection the default.
Exactly. Your data is locked down by default. Companies have to actively convince you, the user, to opt in by offering something genuinely better, a better service, a clearer benefit.
It flips the incentive structure. Instead of just grabbing data, they have to innovate to earn access.
Right. It pushes towards value creation, not just exploitation.
That's a big picture systemic idea. But what about practical strategies people can use, maybe right now? Let's look at two paths, one collective, one individual. First, these data co-ops or trusts.
Okay, so these are basically member-owned organizations. Individuals pool their data together, but, and this is crucial, they maintain control over it. The co-op acts like a fiduciary, legally bound to act in the member's best interests.
Kind of like a credit union, but for data.
That's a good analogy, yeah.
So how does that help me, the individual user?
Well, think about health. Say, an expectant mother. She needs really specific advice based on her genetics, her health history, her lifestyle, not just generic pregnancy tips.
Right. She can't get that from a general website.
No. But if she pools her anonymized data with thousands of other expectant mothers within a trusted co-op, suddenly they have the scale to generate powerful collective insights. The co-op analyzes the data, gives her personalized guidance,
Mm.
all without handing over sensitive health info to some giant pharma company, for example.
And there are real examples of this.
Yeah, the My Data Co-op in Switzerland for multiple sclerosis patients is a great one.
How does that work differently?
Well, traditionally, an MS patient gives their data away, maybe helps develop a drug years later that they might not even be able to afford. The co-op flips that. The collective analyzes the pooled data and sends personalized insights directly to the patient's own doctor to potentially improve their care now. Plus, by pooling data, the patients as a group have way more bargaining power if external companies want access. They control the terms.
Okay, so that's the collective defense strategy. Strength in numbers.
Well, now,
For the individual, if I want to use all this complex data about myself, my job, my personality quirks, finances, family stuff, how can I harness that now without necessarily joining a co-op?
this is where the large language models,
Mhm.
ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, others, have just completely changed the landscape in the last couple of years.
Oh, so.
You basically get your own super competent AI assistant, like an intern with infinite time. You feed it your detailed profile, all your specific needs and preferences, the whole messy picture of you.
So I just tell it, okay, I'm agreeable, I work in tech, I worry about my cat's vet bills, I need to save long-term, but also short-term, all of it.
All of it, the contradictions, the priorities. And you ask it to process that and give you, say, a tailored financial plan or career advice or whatever you need
And it can handle that complexity.
remarkably well. And the magic is that it's conversational. There's this great anecdote about travel planning. A user gave it complex needs, mid-30s, traveling with a young child, specific food interests, needed safe playgrounds nearby.
Okay.
The LLM helped co-create this perfect, detailed itinerary. But then, life happened. A pet got sick back home, plans changed drastically. The user just went back to the LLM, explained the situation.
And just readjusted everything.
Instantly. The whole
Yeah.
plan, dynamically updated. It acts like this personalized co-pilot for your life, constantly adapting to your reality.
So it feels like we're at this really interesting point. We've got these two potential paths: manage data collectively for safety and power, or harness it individually with these incredibly powerful AI assistants.
It's a fascinating moment, yeah.
But this idea of perfect personalization, it does raise a kind of philosophical worry, doesn't it?
You mean the risk of homogenization, becoming bland.
Yeah. LLMs are built to predict the most likely thing, right? The most common preference, the safest bet. If we start outsourcing all our choices, what to watch, where to go, how to invest,
Do we all just end up liking the same things? Do we lose that randomness, the serendipity, the weird, obscure tastes that make us interesting?
right. If the AI suggests paint for your living room, it's probably going to say beige or gray because that's statistically common and safe. It's not going to suggest, I don't know, bright orange polka dots, even if that's secretly your unique aesthetic.
It optimizes for the predictable center, potentially shaving off the interesting edges of our personalities.
So we need to be really intentional about how we use these tools.
Absolutely. Maybe instead of just letting the AI reinforce our existing filter bubbles, maybe the tech itself offers a way to fight back against becoming, well, beige.
Which leads nicely to a final thought, something for you, the listener, to mull over. What if you use this technology to actively break your bubble? Try an echo chamber swap.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
How would it work?
You'd prompt the LLM, say, leave me a news feed, or create a financial plan, or plan a weekend trip, but tailor it specifically for someone with the opposite personality traits, demographics, and life situation to your own.
So if you're, say, a young liberal urbanite, ask for the plan for an older conservative rural farmer.
Exactly. You probably have no real idea what the world looks like from that perspective, what their priorities or constraints are. But the LLM, having ingested vast amounts of human text and data, it does.
It's like a safe way to step into someone else's shoes, powered by AI.
Mm.
Use the personalization engine to force yourself to see different perspectives.
To fight the inertia of your own predicted path.
A fascinating way to use hyper-personalization against itself, almost, to keep things interesting.
Definitely something to think about. Thank you for this deep dive today, exploring this really complex and frankly exciting territory of data, psychology, and our future selves.